early at the laundromat. Now, for anyone new here, I have been the primary custodial parent to all three of my children their entire lives. Prior to a really, really abusive relationship in 2015 to 19, my children lived with me the duration of the relationship. It was not until I was on the upswing of getting out of the relationship that law enforcement came to my home after an attempted home invasion on Thanksgiving 2019 and asked me to call my children's fathers because I was hysterical after calling to report a home invasion attempt on my house. So when I asked the police why are they doing this, despite the fact that I have in hand a custody paperwork that I'm showing them, they say that I, again, am hysterical, that I'm crying, and that they don't think that I'm in a good mental state to take care of my children. I asked the officer, do you have a wife? Are you married? Do you have any daughters? What do you think their mental state would be if a man, gray-haired man they never seen before, was attempting to open their living room window and crawl in? Probably hysterical, right? Needless to say, we're 4 years later, and I've gotten 2 other apartments since then, and several members of law enforcement have approached me claiming that they are there to assist me and keep me safe until we are able to get this case into court. I have all of their names written down, dates, locations, addresses. I also have all the ways that I've been violently victimized over these 4 years. This is just dry because we're sleeping outside in a tent. I have everything documented. It's all been turned into law enforcement. So, pardon me, most recently, fake police, including one woman named Gabby, who I actually worked with at Parag Doshi's Cardiovascular Institute many, many years ago. They were all dressed as law enforcement. They're not law enforcement. I've called to verify that. No law enforcement team says that they're a part of their team. They physically batter-rammed my door down from my apartment at Montclair after I had been robbed for several thousands of dollars about 2 years ago. So in April of 2022, batter-rammed my door down and physically assaulted me, grabbed me by my face, slammed me against the wall, and threw me out of my own apartment that I stood with lease in hand, still have it with me on my person, and all my rental receipts. Still have I have filed 8 petitions now, 7 petitions formally and the 8th one online, with hundreds of police reports. Never have I ever been granted a single court date. Never have law enforcement. So I tried going to Arlington Heights to file. The same thing happened. Literally empty parking lot, no one in there. Security blamed it on COVID. I said, wasn't COVID over in 2020? We're in 2024, sir. Or it was 2023 at the time. He said, no, we still have closures and this and that. Anytime I have gone into the courthouse, I have video evidence or a witness or both. So I've never been subpoenaed by court. I've never been contacted by court. Thousands of emails back and forth from all of the area judges. I have obtained lists of all their names with their administrative assistants respectively, and I have been emailing back and forth with them since 2020 when all of this began, maybe even earlier. So we still have received 0 results. Juan was the last person who presented me with a badge stating that he was law enforcement, and he was the one who dropped me off directly to Xavier, and that was 18 months ago. Approximately a month after I met Xavier, something took place, a phenomenon that I can't really describe. I call it a dosing, a drug dosing. I was lucid. I was in and out of consciousness. I have recollection of what was taking place. Someone was rubbing their feet on my body from my head all the way to my toes, knowing that I have a phobia of feet, among other weird sexual perversions. I reported and documented every single one. Shortly after I expressed that I was not happy with that, we were thrown out of that apartment. And I have been literally walking around in circles, applying for jobs, contacting law enforcement, petitioning the court ever since. I walk all the way to Franklin Park and the northwest side of Chicago Portage Park to drop off groceries to my children at least once a month. I've missed a couple of months due to weather. So I get a job working at this place called Getir, and they fire me when I lose the babies. I worked there for approximately 3 months. paid for Airbnbs for us. If you guys go to the highlight section, you can click on Airbnb reviews and see that I have nothing but positive reviews, more than 20 of them for every single place I've stayed. I'm a very respectful individual, so all of this is easily proven, and it's so thoroughly documented. It's hysterical that it's even still going on. But when I was let go from that job for losing the babies, I didn't know whether to shit or fall in it, so to speak. I could not believe that we were heading into year 4 of this unlawful oppression. I have 3 children waiting for me. How is this going on? I have no criminal record. How is this happening? I'm aware of my civil and human rights. How are they just blatantly ignoring them? And how many people like me are there walking around looking for shelter, wondering what the fuck is happening? When I ask Xavier what's going on with his brother, who works for the state's attorney, and why he hasn't called us back or given us any sort of direction, he gets sort of doesn't know what to say, says that he's going to call him again, and that he never calls us back. I don't know if this whole thing has been a lie. I don't know if his brother is in custody. I don't know if his brother is being held for ransom. There are any number of things that could be going on. The district attorney or a representative of that office who is aware of what's going on in my case, it's highly unlikely they would just stop following up with us. What's more likely is that there's some sort of nefarious extortion taking place. And so for that reason, I would like to shout out Carlos Montoya and say, someone please check on this man and check his phone call records and check his email logs and make sure that he is not being targeted nefariously and extorted, because we have received no follow-up, and both Xavier and myself have remained outdoors in a tent since February 15th of 2000.